Thanks for joining us for SecuRam's webinar on the ProLogic L02. What we're going to do today is take a look at who SecuRam is. We'll do a brief product overview, and then we'll get right into the ProLogic L02 and programming, digital conversion, troubleshooting, and then we'll take a look at performance criteria and certification opportunities. So who's SecuRam Systems? SecuRam was founded in 2006 at the request of some large North American safe manufacturers. Our parent company had 23 years experience in the security industry, mainly in access control, smart cards, and biometric authentication. As we were experts in biometric authentication, North American safe manufacturers were looking for options for safe access in the gun safe market and the commercial safe market. SecuRam Systems was then founded. We set up the head office in Southern California. We're an hour north of LA, just in the Ventura area. What we've become known for over these past 8 years is reliability, best cost to value ratio, and innovation. The first product line that we produced was a product called the SafeLogic Basic, and it can be seen here. This is the keypad. It's an analog keypad, and we put together with that a swing bolt lock. A swing bolt is a very popular lock in the North American market, so we began with that. As we got more involved in various different types of safe bolt work applications, we developed a deadbolt, which has a square bolt. We also developed a spring bolt, or a slam bolt, that's used for interior compartment applications in a safe, where perhaps bolt work is not available to hold back the bolt. And finally, we introduced a product called the strike bolt. And the strike bolt comes really from access control. It's ideal for interior compartments and safes. The strike bolt is actually mounted on the jamb of the safe, of the interior compartment, and then a pin or a loop is put on the back of the door, and that pin or loop ties in or connects to this area here, which allows it to be held and secure. This lock can be run with our standard electronic entry pads. So we've got 4 different types of lock bodies. All 4 of those can be paired with any of our entry pads. We offer 3 different safe product lines. The first one is called the SafeLogic Series, and we have 3 different models of those. These are designed primarily for residential, light commercial, gun safe, banking applications. Then we have the ProLogic Series, and the ProLogic Series, you can see it has an LCD screen on board, and that makes programming very simple, and it allows you to have lots of different features that make it easy to program and easy to use. The ProLogic Series is designed for commercial and banking applications. And then finally, we have our ScanLogic Series. You can see that this particular keypad has a scanner. That's why we call it ScanLogic. This allows you to place your finger on the scanner. The system then scans your finger to determine if it's you using biometric authentication, and allows you to gain access to the safe. Any entry pad can be paired with any lock body. So the 4 lock bodies we showed you previously, you can put any one of these entry pads with that lock body to create a system that's flexible for the type of application you're working with. Once you connect the entry pad to the lock body, we go through a pairing process that downloads all of the product functionality into the lock to be able to receive that functionality. So the system is very versatile and very flexible. The lock that can be used for a standard basic entry-level lock can be paired with a higher level keypad, and now you have a higher functioning safe lock system. It's very flexible and convertible. So let me show you how that works. On the left-hand side, we have 3 different types of keypads. This is our SafeLogic, our ProLogic, and our ScanLogic. If I connect the SafeLogic keypad to this standard lock, our swing bolt lock, or it could be a deadbolt, it could be a spring bolt, or it could be a strike bolt, I will have a 2 user code lock. It'll have some basic functionality. It'll work in analog mode. I'll explain that here in a second. If I were then to connect a ProLogic keypad that has more features with this standard lock, I could turn this lock system into a lock system that has 30 user codes instead of 2, has time delay functionality, has dual control or single control, audit trail capability, time lock, and wireless connectivity for network connectivity and remote programming. Finally, if I were to connect this system with a ScanLogic, I would now turn this lock into a fingerprint lock that has 30 fingerprints, 30 user codes, time delay, dual control, audit trail, time lock, and wireless connectivity. So a very flexible system. Now, why is it we're able to do this? Inside our lock body, this is a picture of the internal mechanisms within our lock body. I'll explain more about that a little later. But essentially, on the circuit board, we have two what we call logic centers. And these logic centers are, one is analog and the other is digital. Think of this as the brain of the system. It's taking information, it's like a computer chip, taking information, determining what to do with it, and then allowing access or not, depending on the criteria. So if I were to use a SafeLogic keypad and connect it to this lock, it would turn on the analog logic center, and I would have a basic two-user lock that sends analog signals. What that means is, when I press the number 1, it sends voltage across to this logic center that says, I'm a number 1. If I were to press the number 2, it would send voltage across that represents the number 2, and so on. Now, if I were to connect either the ProLogic or ScanLogic keypads to this lock body, we would turn the other logic center on, the digital logic center. And what happens in this case is now I can have advanced functionality because I'm sending across ones and zeros, a digital binary information. That means I can send it across faster. I can also send more information because I'm able to send smaller packets of information. Therefore, I can have more features and functions. So with two different logic centers, if we connect the SafeLogic system as seen here, we would have a basic two-user lock that's operating in analog. If I then connect it through a pairing process with a ProLogic or a ScanLogic keypad, then I am able to have advanced functionality and it works in digital mode. I'll explain the pairing process in a moment. All right, let's take a look at our products. As I mentioned before, we have three different types of SafeLogic Series products. The one that we've looked at already is the SafeLogic Basic, and this is a stainless steel keypad. All of our keypads or entry pads are stainless steel. Except one, and it's the one beside us here, which is called the top lit. The reason it's called top lit is it has two small LED lights above at the 12 o'clock position of the entry pad. And that allows you to shine light down over the entry pad numbers so that you can see to enter your code in the dark. The third one that we're showing here is what we call our SafeLogic backlit. And it's the same idea. The lights light up in order to enter the code. Sorry, the numbers light up. And they do that with a light that's illuminating from the back of the entry pad, an internal illumination method. So it's called backlit. The programming for the SafeLogic series is a familiar programming sequence that you probably know already based on the Lagarde Basic format. A similar type of programming as that. So for instance, to change your code, you'd enter 6 zeros to get into programming mode. And I'll show you that here in a second. So within the SafeLogic series, this really can be compared to a product that you see a lot in the market called the Lagarde Basic. Same type of lock system. Or the 6120, the Sargent and Greenleaf 6120 is a similar type of lock to this. They're both analog systems. They both have limited functionality. Or a lock that we see quite often in the North American market is something called an AMSEC ESL5 or ESL10, same type of basic elementary entry-level lock system as the SafeLogic Basic. Now in 2014 we introduced a very unique redundant lock system. What redundant means is there's two methods to gain access to this lock. We have push button access for everyday use, where you just enter your code as you would in a normal situation. However, if you have a battery, if your battery's drained, depleted, or if you've got a broken wire, or if there's some other type of electrical issue, you can raise the spin dial release, and now you can dial this combination as you would a regular mechanical lock. Let's take a look at how this works. So the SafeLogic Extreme is really two locks in one. It's one lock footprint, the standard size, so it fit on any safe. It has push button access. This is a touchpad surface as opposed to a membrane, and it lights up. It's backlit. You enter your code as you normally would with an electronic lock, and the lock would open. Now, in mechanical or spin dial access, you would raise this portion here, which we call the spin dial release, and in this area, there is a dialing matrix, just exactly the same as you would see on an old style spin dial mechanical lock, three-wheel mechanical lock. So you would dial open the SafeLogic Extreme exactly the same method. 4 times to the left until you reach the first number of the combination, 3 times right till you reach the second number, twice left till you reach the third number, and then back to the right to open. We also added another unique feature, and that is on the top of the spin dial release, there's an LED light that shines down so that you can see this dialing matrix easier. We added one other innovation to this particular product, and we added Bluetooth. So you can order this product, it's optional, with Bluetooth capability, where you can now open this safe lock using your smartphone. Let's take a look at the inside. So on the inside of the SafeLogic Extreme, we have 3 wheels, just like you would on a standard mechanical lock. Here's the lever. The lever drops into these gates when the gates are lined up with the correct combination, and then the lock opens. Alternatively, with the electronic side, here's the circuit board that receives the information, has the logic center. It turns a motor that is located here. This again is a motor drive lock. Moves a blocking mechanism to allow this bolt to rotate in as you turn the handle. You can see it a little easier in this diagram. Here's the wheel pack. There's the circuit boards. Here's the motor. And I'll explain how the lever drops in. A normal mechanical lock, the lever would drop into these gates, allowing you to engage this cam and then pull back the bolt. What our system does is, again, the gates get aligned, the lever drops in, interacts with the cam, and then the cam pulls this triangular mechanism here, which, as it pulls back, it turns these gears, which rotates the blocking mechanism, which allows this bolt to turn back. Very ingenious design. Now you'll notice that the SafeLogic Extreme is a swing bolt lock, so this swings back in out of the way. That's great for about 70 to 80% of the safes that are on the market. Most of them are right-hand motion, moving from right to left. However, if you have a safe lock that is left-hand motion, where the boltwork moves from left to right, then you can use this adapter plate. This adapter plate acts like a scissor, if you like, where as the boltwork pushes this way, the adapter plate pushes the other bolt that way. So now you can use it in either right-handed or left-handed applications using the adapter plate. That's the SafeLogic series. Now we're going to talk about the ProLogic series. In the ProLogic series, we have 8 different models to choose from. ProLogic L01 to L69, and then we have also a ProLogic OTC, ProLogic OTC. The OTC stands for one-time code, which is used for ATMs. The higher the number, the more featured the lock. So the ProLogic has commercial features, such as 30 users now instead of 2 users. Dual control, where 2 people enter valid codes to gain access. Time delay, a burglary deterrent. You enter your code, it then counts up a prescribed period of time and allows you access only after that time is expired by entering your code again. Audit trail, it keeps track of who's going into the safe and when, what they're doing, the date and the time they did it, and who did it. Time lock. Time lock is used in banking applications where we restrict access to the safe or to the vault for specific periods of time. For instance, you may only want to have people access the vault between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., after which no one can gain access to the safe or the vault. We added Bluetooth connectivity to this as well for certain models. Bluetooth connectivity allows us to have local connectivity to a smartphone. We added wireless connectivity. The models of our ProLogic that are L62 to L69 have a built-in wireless receiver transmitter in the entry pad. That allows us to communicate information wirelessly to various devices, including access points to be able to send information and receive information across a network. As a result, we're able to provide remote programming and live audit streaming. So anytime anyone does anything at the safe, enters a code to gain access, changes the time or whatever they want to do at the SafeLock itself, that information is streamed live back to central dispatch, the head office location, and they can view it on a piece of software. You always know the status of your SafeLock. We do that through network connectivity. It's wireless from the SafeLock to the access point. We provide an access point. The access point is plugged into your network, and then it provides that information across the network to your head office location. The ProLogic Series also can control up to 4 locks with one entry pad. So you can connect 4 different locks to this entry pad, and it'll operate them individually. So for instance, if you enter your code, it'll say which lock would you like to open. You say lock number 1, and lock number 1 opens. If you said lock number 2 would open, and so on. Now here's a bit of an eye chart, but this is a chart that shows all of the features that are available down the left-hand side. And across the top, we have the model number of the ProLogic series that has those features. So for instance, you can see that the L69 has a lot of features, and the OTC is our highest functioning ProLogic. It has all of these features. It's mainly used in ATM applications or cache vault applications. We're going to take a look today at the ProLogic L02. So what is the ProLogic L02? First of all, it has an LCD screen for easy programming and use. It has 30 user codes. It has time delay from 0 to 99 minutes. It has time delay override codes, so you can have special users who bypass the time delay if set. It can operate in single control mode, where you enter 1 code to gain access, or dual control mode, where you have to enter 2 valid codes to gain access. You can pair it with any of our lock bodies. Any 4 of these lock bodies can be paired with us. And it controls up to 4 locks. So by using a device that we call a junction box, it's called a CB11 1T4, that's the part number, you can plug in a keypad on this side, for lock 1 on this side, lock 2, lock 3, and lock 4. And that's the connection module to be able to communicate with 4 locks at one time. Using this connection box, you can also plug in AC power, and now you have an AC powered system. You plug it into the wall. You can leave the battery in the entry pad so that if you have a power failure, you can always gain access to your safe using the battery that is already installed in the keypad. All right, so the ProLogic L02 feature set compares to some products that you're probably familiar with. The Lagarde ComboGuard Pro, for instance, or the SNG 6123, the AMSEC ESL20. They're all the same types of basic commercial entry-level SafeLock systems. Except, of course, ours has more features. The ProLogic has 30 users as opposed to the 9 users available on the other products. We have an LCD screen, so it makes it really easy to manage and control. And we control up to 4 locks, whereas the other ones only do 1. All right, I'm going to show you another product called the ProLogic L62. And this is exactly the same as the ProLogic L02. It looks identical, but it has some additional features. So this now has a 500 event audit trail, date and time stamped, which means if I enter my code now, it'll say ID 01 entered at or open safe at this date and time. And it'll store that information in its non-volatile memory. So what happens then is it stores the most recent 500 events. We built wireless capability into the ProLogic L62 so that we can wirelessly download the audit trail information either directly to a PC or to a device called a wireless link. The wireless link takes the place of the old Dallas key, where in other systems you use a Dallas key in order to download information. You take the key back to head office, you plug it in, and you can propagate the audit trail information in your PC and some software. We take a different approach to that because Dallas keys tend to be problematic. So we use a wireless device. It looks like a small iPod, first generation iPods, but it is a very inexpensive device. It comes with the software, so it's easy to obtain, and it holds 5,000 events. So you can take it from store to store, retrieve the audit information, go back to your head office, plug it in, and upload all the information. Now, because this is wireless, we also have the ability to program from a PC. So locally, we can program this. As long as the PC is within 30 to 60 feet of the safe as it goes down your assembly line, we can send all programming from the PC directly to the entry pad, and it gets programmed. So the ProLogic L62 would probably compare to a couple of products that are on the market, the Kaba AuditGuard series, AuditCon, the Lagarde SmartLink, the S&G Audit, and the AMSEC ESL Audit. Except, of course, ours has 30 users as opposed to the number of users in those products, an LCD screen, wireless capability, and it controls up to 4 locks. All right, we'll take a look at a couple more products, and then we'll get right into the programming and troubleshooting. ProLogic L66, again, exactly the same as what we've seen up to this point. As we go higher number in these products, we get more features. So it has everything that the L62 has, except now we add time lock functionality. So this is for banks, where you want to restrict access to certain periods of time throughout the day. Every day can be programmed with 2 separate windows so that you can have multiple periods of time that you can open the SafeLock during the day. We can also have a remote network audit retrieval. And what we do in this case is we use the wireless functionality that's built into this entry pad. We can connect to this device, which is called a wireless access point. This device plugs into your network, and then as you can call the store and say, please go to the menu, Mr. Manager, enter your code, press wireless connection, and all the information is wirelessly downloaded to the access point and then back to your software at head office. So you can extract the audit trail without ever having to go to the site location. This system, the ProLogic L66, also comes in a water-resistant enclosure. So instead of being the standard round entry pad, we've built a stainless steel, siliconized, sealed system that is actually passed a waterproof test, but we say it's a water-resistant keypad. So in any environment where you've got perhaps fast food locations where you've got lots of grease and people are spraying the floor down with hot water to clean it every day, and your safe is sitting down on the floor, instead of burning up that keypad, provide one of these, and now you've got water resistance. Can work very well in that operation. So what's the ProLogic L66 compared to? Products that are on the market are the Lagarde SmartLink, the AMSEC Wizard perhaps, except ours have more features. So 30 users, LCD screen, wireless, water resistant, network connectivity. As I mentioned, we pack a lot of features into the product. The ProLogic L69 is another example of a product that is fully featured. So in this case, again, it has everything that we've seen up to this point. But now we add network connectivity with this wireless access point and live audit streaming. So anything that takes place at the entry pad anywhere around the world on your network, you're going to have that information streamed live back to you at your head office. It also provides you an opportunity to do exception reporting. For instance, if someone opens the safe at a particular location and leaves the door of the safe wide open, you can specify in the safe lock how long the door is allowed to be open. If it's open for longer than that, it'll send information immediately back to the software. The software will automatically email that information out to whoever needs to receive it. Because we have this network connection capability, we're also able to remotely program the ProLogic L69. Anything that can be programmed at the entry pad can now be programmed across the networks securely to this access point, and then downloads securely to the entry pad, to the SafeLock system using our wireless encrypted protocol. So the encryption level on this wireless communication is very secure. It's actually higher than the 128-bit required in the banking environment. So what's the ProLogic L69 compare to? really not much out there. There's nothing that's as advanced as this. Cabo Moss doesn't have anything like this. Sargent and Greenleaf definitely doesn't have anything like this. Maybe the MSec Wizard. The Wizard's an interesting product, and it has the ability to have an internet connectivity add-on. It makes the product very expensive, but it would be in the same range as this as far as functionality. Ours is about half the price. The ScanLogic Series then. So we've had the SafeLogic Series, the ProLogic Series. Now we'll take a look at the ScanLogic Series. This is our fingerprint authentication line. We have 3 different styles of entry pads, and each have a fingerprint scanner. This one uses swipe technology, so you swipe your finger across the sensor. This one uses an optical reader, where you place your finger on the glass platen, and this is the same. We have 10 different models to choose from. Again, the higher the model number, the more features. 30 fingerprints, 30 codes, dual control, time delay, audit trail, time lock, wireless connectivity, remote programming capability, network connectivity, and they control up to 4 locks. So a full line of biometric safe locks as well. Here's again another eye chart. I'll show you it again. This is the features down this side. This is the models across the top. You select whatever feature you want. Perhaps it's audit trail. You slide across until you see this model. The ScanLogic Audit has audit trail, as do these others. So that's on our website. If you are looking for a specific product for a specific application, just refer to this chart. Now let's get into the ProLogic L02. The ProLogic L02 I kind of call the workhorse commercial safe lock. It is referred to in some parts of North America as the SR2 because one of our largest customer has their own part numbering system for this. They put a lot of ProLogic L02s out, so you'll sometimes hear it referred to as an SR2. So the ProLogic L02 can be paired with any of our locks, just like all the rest of our entry pads. What does the ProLogic L02 do? So it has an LCD, it has 30 user codes, it has single control or dual control. So enter 1 code to gain access, enter 2 codes to gain access. Has time delay to 99 minutes. It has a time window of 1 to 15 minutes, which means after your time delay counts up to the level of its expiration, then you have a time period that you can set from 1 minute to 15 minutes to enter your code to gain access. You have time delay override codes, the manager code, the super code, and the ID02 code, supervisor code, are all by default time delay override codes, but you can control those. So if you don't want your supervisor to have time delay override, you can specify that in your programming. It can enable and disable user codes. So for instance, if your employee at one particular store is going on vacation, you're concerned that they've shared their code with someone else, and someone else will have access to the safe, you can disable the code for the period of that person's vacation and then enable it when they come back so that they can continue to use that code. So instead of deleting it, you can temporarily disable it. It also has a recovery feature, which is quite amazing. We've all been in situations where customers called us and said, I've forgotten the codes, or the last manager had the codes and I don't know them, I need to get in the safe. Well, we provide a recover system feature that allows us to do this in a very secure way, but a very convenient way. I'll show you that here shortly. The ProLogic L02 can control up to 4 locks. It can be paired with any of our locks, and we have AC power optional. So, the ProLogic L02, like all of our locks, comes with 2 default codes. The first default code is 6 ones, 111111. That's what we call the super code. It also has a manager code. The manager code is 123456. To open the lock, just enter those 6 digits and it'll open. You don't have to press pound or press C or anything like that. Just enter those 6 digits and it'll open for you. Automatically, after 6 seconds, the lock is going to go to its relocked position, which means that as soon as you close the door and turn the safe handle, the lock will lock. Now, the ProLogic series has a menu system, and the power of this system is really found in the programming menu. If you were to enter the programming menu, how you'd get there with the ProLogic L02 is you'd enter your supercode or your manager code, the lock will open, and this select menu screen will appear. It is your entry point to all of the managerial menu systems. All right, this list along the right-hand side here is all of the commands or functions, menu selections, that we can do within this menu. And we're going to go through a number of them, but you can see it's everything from change code to set cancel time delay to authorize locks, delete users, and down the bottom here we have enroll new user. You might wonder why we have Enroll New User, something you probably do often, on the very bottom of this list. And the reason for that is this menu is circular, which means when you reach Select Menu, you can press the down button to go to Change Code, or you press the up button to go to Enroll New User. So that's how that system works. All right, let's take a look at changing a code. So in order to change the code of a ProLogic L02, you first of all have to get into the management menu. So to do that, you enter the supercoder manager code, the lock will open, the select menu screen will appear, and then you scroll down to change code and press OK. This will allow you to change the code of the code that you gained access to the menu with. So if you are a user, let's say you're user number 21, you would enter the programming menu by entering your user code of ID 21. The lock will open. It'll allow you access to certain things in this menu. You can't do all of them. They're managerial menus. But you can do certain things like managing your own code. So you would be able to change your own code using the same process. So you press OK when you see change code. It would prompt you to enter your new code. So you'd enter your new 6-digit code. It would then prompt you to repeat that 6-digit code. You'd repeat it, and then it would say ID 0001, whatever the ID position is. Remember, it's got 30 code slots. So ID 00 is the supercode, 01 is the first manager code, and so on. If you have one of our ProLogic L02, go ahead and change the code from 123456 to 65321, and that'll give you some practice in changing it. But you'll see it's very simple. You just follow the menus. All right, now we're going to take a look at probably the second most used feature, which is Enroll New User. To enroll a new user, you do the same thing. You enter your SecuRam manager code, the lock will open, the select menu screen will appear, and now you scroll up in this case to Enroll New User. So you're going to go right down to this bottom one, which you can get to by pressing the up button at the select menu screen. Enroll New User, you press OK. It'll say, what's the new code of the user? You enter a 6-digit code. If you enter a 6-digit code that is similar to another code that's there, which means it has 4 numbers in a row that are the same, it will not allow you to do that. It'll say code is similar, and it'll ask you to enter a new code. It'll then say repeat. After you've entered the new code and it's valid, it would prompt you to repeat that code. You repeat the 6-digit code, and then it'll say code is saved. And it'll also tell you the ID position of that code. User's been enrolled. Here's the notation about the 4 numbers being the same. If you get code is similar when you're entering the code, it means you have to select another code. It won't allow you to save this particular code. It's too close to another user. All right, so that's change code and enroll new user. Now let's take a look at how we would program time delay. On other locks, it's very cryptic. You have to look at the manual every time. I'm sure you don't remember it. You press 74* master code pound or something to gain access to the menu system, and it's difficult. So our system uses a menu system in order to do that. So again, to change, set, or cancel time delay, you would go to the select menu after entering your manager code. You'd find set cancel time delay and press OK. The time delay of its current position would be shown. So in this case, we don't have a time delay. It's showing 0 minutes. You would press the up and down buttons on the entry pad in order to increase the time delay value from 0 minutes to 1, 2, 3, and 4. The more you press, the higher it goes. Then you press OK. And then it'll bring up a prompt for the time window. And this is the length of time that you will allow your user to enter his valid code after time delay has expired. You can select anything from 1 minute to 15 minutes. Press OK, and time delay has been set. All right, let's take a look at time delay override. So let's say you've got a 30-minute time delay on your safe, but you have a cash carrier coming in to pick up money, and he's not going to stand around and wait for 30 minutes for you to open the safe. So you need to provide him with a code, or a manager with a code, that is what we call a TDO, or a time delay override code. And how you do this is exactly the same. You get into the programming menu, the lock will open. You at select menu, you scroll down until you see set TDO user ID. It'll say TDO user ID is currently 02. Would you like to change that? You press the up and down buttons to select the desired user ID. By default, ID 01 and 02 and 00, so supercode, manager code, supervisor code, are all time delay override codes. So you can change that. If you don't want your supervisor to have time delay override, you can set time delay override user ID to 01, and only 00 and 01 will have the time delay capability. Okay. So here's the note that explains that. If by default 00, 01, and 02 are time delay override, you use this feature to set ID 01 as time delay override, and it eliminates time delay override for your supervisor code ID 02. Now let's take a look at how you set the number of locks that this entry pad will control in the safe. So let's assume we have a safe that has 4 locks attached to it, the maximum number. You need to tell the entry pad that you're going to be managing a number of locks. And how you do that again is enter the programming menu. At the select menu screen, you scroll down to set number of doors, or on some models it'll say set number of locks. It'll ask you to enter this manufacturer's code, and the manufacturer's code is a code that's provided at the manufacturing level so that they can do these types of changes. The manufacturing code is 975246 is our default, and that code can be entered in order to do this kind of high-level code management, or door management in this case. It will show the current number of doors or locks that the entry pad is programmed to control. You now use the up and down arrows on the entry pad in order to increase this number to the correct number that you want to control with this entry pad. In order to establish lock numbers, connect the locks in desired order one by one and open each one. So once you've set the number of locks, you need to connect lock number 1, enter the code, ask it to open lock number 1. It will open that lock, and now that names that lock as lock number 1, and the system always knows that that's lock number 1. Then you disconnect lock number 1, you connect lock number 2, you enter your code, and you say, I want to open lock number 2, and it'll go to that second lock that you've got added or connected to the system, and it'll name that as lock number 2. Then you can connect both locks number 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and they'll know their names. Each time they're requested, it'll send the opening code to that correct lock. Enable Sequence is a feature on the ProLogic system that's very handy. What it does is it allows you to set the locks in a certain order. So for instance, if you have a large safe that has 3 internal compartments and 1 main outer door, you can't get at the internal compartments without opening the main door. If you go to Enable Sequence and press OK, the system will know that door number 1, lock number 1, is on the outer door. 2, 3, and 4, or any additional locks, are on the inside of that outer door. That means if I enter my code and I say I want to open lock number 2, lock number 1 will open first, and then lock number 2 will open 10 seconds after lock number 1. So it has logic built into it for sequencing. All right, we've got a multi-lock system. We're going to now set which users can gain access to which locks. You may have some internal compartments that hold your high-value assets. You want people to gain access to the outer door because they may be able to have to get change, for instance, or cell phones or whatever happens to be on the outer compartment. But on that inner compartment, you only want management to be able to gain access to it. So you can now set that authorization using authorized doors. In some models, you'll see it as authorized locks. Again, you go into the programming menu. At select menu, you press down until you get to authorized locks or doors. Press OK. And now it'll ask you for the range of users that you would like to authorize. So in this case, we've got from user 3 to user 5. So users 3, 4, and 5 will receive this programming. If you only wanted one user to receive this programming, you would make it from user 3 to user 3, and then only one would be programmed. So it's a range. If you didn't want user 3, maybe you wanted user 30, you could just press the up button until you get to user 30 and then select your range from that number. Now, once the range is selected, it'll show you what those users are able to gain access to. And what we have here is we've got doors on the top, or locks, door 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we've got authorizations. An O means they can open it. An X means they can't open it. So in this case, these users currently can open door number 1 only. Now, to authorize users, you simply press the number that you want to toggle. So for instance, if you wanted to change this O to an X, you would press the number 1 on your entry pad, and it would toggle access for door number 1 from O to X. Press it again, it'll toggle it from X to O. So if you want to open door number 2, you would press the number 2, and it would change the X to an O, as we've shown in this portion. So X, he can't get in door number 1, but he can get in door number 2. And that's how you authorize locks. Now, the recover system feature of the ProLogic system is quite amazing. This is the ability to reset this lock back to factory conditions. In most other systems that are on the market, they have this a function like this. But what normally happens is when you get the safe lock, you get a little white piece of paper, and they say, this has your management reset code on it, or your super master code. You're to take this code and put it somewhere safe, because if we ever need it, you're going to need to know what that number is. So most people put the piece of paper in a very safe place, and they put it inside the safe. When they want to recover their system, they can't. That's where locksmiths end up drilling in order to gain access to unknown codes. With our system, because we use an LCD, we're able to communicate information. And that comes in very handy for the recover system option. Again, you gain access to this either by entering the programming menu and scrolling down, but it's also available in the root menu. So you don't even have to go into the programming menu. Since you don't know any codes, perhaps, you haven't got the super code or the manager code to enter, so you can just press the menu button, scroll down until you see recover system. Press OK. It'll say, are you sure you want to recover the system? You say, yes. It'll say, enter the code. Now, in other systems, of course, that code would be hiding inside the safe. In ours, we give you a default code. You enter the default code, 999999. Enter 6 nines, and what that does is it does not open the safe, and it doesn't set it back to factory default, but it gives you this alphanumeric key. You can't do anything with this key. What you can do, however, is you can call either a SecuRam safe manufacturer, or you can call our office, our technical support office, give them that key. We ask you to register with various credentials as a professional locksmith or safe and vault technician to gain access to this program. We take that key, we put it through a software system, we decrypt a recovery code. We then give that code back to you, and you enter the code, and it recovers the system back to factory default. Now, what's unique about that is as you enter this recovery code, it sets everything back to the super code being 6 ones, manager code being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All user codes are deleted, but time delay remains active for obvious reasons. But at least you know your codes at this point. So that code that we entered in this box after we had decrypted this key is only good once. So as a safe technician or a safe and vault professional or locksmith, you don't have any liability that you can go back and use that code and recover the system back to factory default again. Your liability ends with the entrance of that code into the system. It's gone forever. The next time you'd have to recover the system, you would get a different key number, and we'd give you a different one-time use recovery code. Very secure way to handle recovery. One of the things about SecuRam products is they're very, very reliable. One of the reasons they're so reliable is as we manufacture each and every lock, we put it through a 2,000 cycle test. We test it 2,000 cycles. If it doesn't pass all 2,000 cycles, it doesn't ship. That's how you know the product is very good. Now, we also give you the opportunity to do this. There's a menu selection in the menu tree that says cycle testing. And with this menu selection, you can cycle this lock for as long as the battery lasts. So you can test it. It'll come up with a counter and it'll say this is how many cycles and this is how many good cycles, how many bad cycles. And that way you know that this lock is a very good, reliable lock. No one else does this type of cycle testing offering, either for their quality management program or in-field cycle testing. Nobody else does this. So when you select cycle testing, you press OK. Then you have to enter your manufacturer's code again, which again is 975246. The lock will begin cycling. To exit the cycling, just disconnect your battery. It'll continue to cycle as long as it has battery power. This feature is unique to SecuRam and it demonstrates our commitment to quality. Using this feature, a user can cycle their own lock continuously to test its reliability. If you plug in a fresh 9-volt battery, let it run for 24 hours, it'll run about 15 to 20,000 times on that 9-volt and then it'll die. So it's the battery's depleted, put a new battery in it and it'll continue to run. Our locks, again, are designed for a 200,000 cycle lifespan. So cycle testing is a great tool for anyone who's concerned about the longevity of electronic safe locks. All right, I've jumped through a couple of them. The hardware testing menu is available. This is actually a manufacturing level programming that tests components on the board level. It's not for field use. We may end up getting rid of that menu selection in field applications. Enable dual mode. You would be able to obviously set into dual mode. It's very easy to do following the prompts just as we've done. But I've jumped to delete all users. So delete all users, again, you do it the same way. If you've got a super code or a manager code, you enter that code, the lock will open, you go to the select menu screen, and then you can scroll down until you see delete all users. It'll say, are you sure you want to delete all users? You press OK again to confirm, and then the display will scroll through all enrolled users and deleting them. All users deleted will be displayed on the screen, giving you confirmation. ID 00 will remain as previously set. ID 01 will revert to, this is incorrect, I need to correct that, will revert to 123456, not 6 ones as shown here. It'll revert to its standard default, 123456. ID 00 will remain as previously set. So if you've changed the ID 00 from its default of 111111, even when you do delete all users, that supercode will stay as you previously set it. All right, now we're going to take a look at digital mode conversion. And this is very unique to the SecuRam product line. So there's a reset method that we use for SafeLogic Series products. When we reviewed that product, we used the reset method in order to reset the lock back to factory default. With the ProLogic and ScanLogic series, we know that we have this recover system option to do that with more power. So with this particular method, the mechanical reset procedure is used to pair the lock with the entry pad. When you do this process, what you're doing is using this poking tool to press the reset button and connecting power and lock to or lock cable to the lock. It will set the lock into digital mode. Whatever mode the keypad is that you're connecting to it, it'll convert it to that logic center. And it downloads all of the programming capability of the keypad that you have connected to it to the lock, so the lock is ready to receive this information. An important note, this process does not reset the codes back to factory. It simply changes it to digital and downloads existing codes and programming functionality. Different than with the SafeLogic series. So here's how we do that. On the back of the lock, you'll find a little white sticker. It says QC on it. Under that sticker and directly above it, there is a word that says reset. It's embossed into the case, so you know that this is the reset hole. Remove the sticker, and you'll find there is a hole there. What you want to do is disconnect this entry pad from this lock from the entry pad. Disconnect the battery from the entry pad. Locate the reset button, and then you want to take a paper clip and press into that hole. Use the paper clip as a poking tool to press into that hole 3 times. What that does is discharges any latent energy that's in the capacitors in the lock. So it just gets it back to ground state. And now you do the part that requires 3 hands. So while you are holding this button down, the reset button down, you're going to do 2 things. You're going to connect the lock cable to the lock. While you're continuing to hold it, you're going to connect the battery to the entry pad, and then you're going to wait 5 seconds. Just count to 5, and then release the reset button. The lock is now paired with the entry pad, and it's been converted to digital mode, and that extra 5 seconds that you waited downloaded the information so that that lock is now prepared to receive the functionality of the advanced entry pad that you've connected to it. All right, now we're going to get into troubleshooting. Things that can go wrong with a ProLogic, or for that matter, the ProLogic family. There's 4 things that I usually ask people to check when they're troubleshooting. One is to make sure that you've got good power. So make sure you have a 9-volt battery. You make sure it's new. On our entry pads, the LCD shows the voltage of the battery. So you can plug in an entry pad or plug in a battery to the entry pad. This will read the voltage that battery currently is. If it's a new one, it's going to be around 9.2. If it's an older one, it's going to be 6 or 7. I'd ask you to get something that's above 8.5. Once you know you've got good power source, then I would check the lock cable. Make sure that the lock cable is not nicked or crushed or wires bare or it's grounding out. Reseat the cable that is attached to the back of the entry pad. If you're not getting good connection, if you push down on that connection, it's kind of like an old telephone RJ11 type style connector. It's got a keeper on one side. Press in on that. You can pull it off and then push it down into that receiver in order to make sure that it has good connection. Then on the entry pad, make sure you've got a good functioning entry pad. Make sure that it lights when you press a number. The LCD lights up. Make sure that as you press a number, it beeps. It shows you the entry on the LCD screen as you enter a number here. Here we got a number 8 pressed. Make sure you've got good communication. And then side bolt pressure. Side bolt pressure is the pressure that's applied on the end or the side, of the lock bolt from the bolt work of the safe. In our case, it doesn't matter too much, although it's never ideal to have side bolt pressure. But the motor, because it's independent of the bolt, it'll fire anyway. You might have to jiggle the handle in order to, the safe handle, in order to allow it to retract the bolt. If it's a really severe case of side bolt pressure, you may have to relieve the side bolt pressure first. So what can go wrong with the ProLogic L02? I've categorized these in 3 categories right out of the box. You open it up, done work. In service, it's been installed on the safe for a while. We've got a number of issues that we can deal with there. And then finally, I'm going to show you how to do the multi-lock setup so that you can number locks. But let's take a look at these 3 categories. So let's say you've got a ProLogic L02. It's come to you with a lock from your favorite distributor, and you plug in the lock, you put in a good battery, and immediately you get this error which says fail to link with lock. Most important thing to know is this message does not mean the safe lock is defective. It means that the entry pad cannot see the lock body. It's not communicating properly. What do you do? The cause is the lock body is probably set to analog mode, which means that as the distributor, or if you got it directly from us, if you got the entry pad, we perhaps didn't set that lock into digital mode to be paired with that entry pad. Easy to fix. We've already seen how to do that by doing the reset method. Or the cable is damaged. and it's not being able to communicate to the lock because the cable, the conduit, the kind of lifeline from the entry pad to the lock is damaged in some way. It's not sending the information across. So what do? You complete a simple mechanical reset on the lock using the paperclip. Press down on that reset button, do that whole process, and it'll convert it from analog to digital, and the lock will work just fine, and it'll be able to link with lock. Or, if it's a communication issue, change the cable out. Our lock cable connects in a removable connector to the back of the entry pad. That's what we're showing here. That same connection is on the lock side. So if you happen to damage a cable where it's causing this error, you can simply disconnect the cable from the entry pad, disconnect it from the lock, put a new cable on it. They cost very little money, and you can be back in business. Some safe manufacturers solder the wire to the lock body or to the entry pad, most to the lock body. And then if you nick the wire, you've really got a very expensive paperweight. With ours, we have a cable that can disconnect from both the entry pad side and from the lock side. So it's a simple thing to fix. Just remember, fail to link doesn't mean it's a bad lock. It means it's not communicating with the lock correctly. So let's say we're in service. We've had this lock out in the field, and we've lost the manager codes. What do? The fix is to use the supercode to reset the manager code. So let's say ID00, the supercode, is known. Someone's got that, and maybe the loss prevention manager has ID00 on record. So if you don't know the manager code, you fired the manager, you've got to put a new one in there, but the departing manager didn't leave his code. It doesn't matter. Get the supercode. You can go in, delete the manager code, and then re-add it. Or if you don't know any codes, you've lost them all, supercode, manager codes, everything, then use the recover system method to set the SafeLock back to factory default. Something else that could go wrong in the field. Perhaps the entry pad is damaged. Someone has tried to break into the safe, and they have taken a hammer to the entry pad. It can no longer open the lock. What do? Simple fix, and our system is unique in this way. You can reprogram 4 things. I call them the superfecta. The supercode, the encryption key, the recovery code, and the device ID. With those 4 things programmed into a brand new entry pad, you can communicate with the lock that is locked up inside the safe by connecting it, enter the supercode, and the lock will open for you. And now you can go about programming in all of the other codes and features. But those 4 things have to be programmed into that replacement entry pad for it to be able to be recognized by the lock that's inside the safe. You do that by connecting the entry pad to another lock. So you take a lock out of stock, you take an entry pad out of stock, you connect the two together, you put a battery in the entry pad, and you program in the supercode. You program in the encryption key. Now the encryption key is rarely changed, at least in the North American market. No one ever changes this key. You can change it, but most people leave it as default, and that's fine. The recovery code, those 6 nines that we saw previously, is also usually never changed because there is no security risk in leaving as 6 nines, as we saw previously. We have to decrypt that key. So usually those things don't change. The device ID could change, but usually it isn't. The device ID is if you've got it connected to a network system, then you name each of the safe locks with a device ID number. It's kind of like an IP address for computer printers and so on. This is the address that the network is going to look at in order to see this particular safe lock. So if it has been changed from its default, which is 17, then you could you'd have to change that to the same number that the existing entry pad, the damaged entry pad is. And with those 4 numbers, that will allow you to pair with the lock that is locked up inside the safe, and you'll be able to gain access. Then go ahead and reprogram all of your other features. So again, very versatile, very flexible, very secure. No codes will work if you just connect an entry pad to that lock with the ProLogic or ScanLogic. You have to have the superfecta programmed. All right, now we're going to take a look at, there's one other thing I wanted to say. If you do have a damaged keypad, you can always repair the cable. Let's say the keypad's damaged and the cable is damaged beyond repair. Splice another end of the cable onto that with good connections alligator clips or soldered the joints, and good chance you're going to be able to get into the lock with the superfecta programmed in the new entry pad. All right, now we're going to go through how to number locks in a multi-lock setup. So to do this, we briefly went through it before, but I think it's worth going over again. So what we first of all do is we set the number of locks that the entry pad is going to be connected to in the menu system under set number of locks. Then we use this junction box. It's called a CB111T4. You enter you plug in the entry pad here. You plug in lock number 1 here, lock 2, lock 3, lock 4. And then you go about a process to number them. And how you do that is you connect the entry pad to the CB11, plugging it in here. Then you complete a reset on lock number 1 with no other locks connected. So you've got the entry pad plugged in here. You're going to do a reset on the lock with a paper clip. You're going to plug it into here, connect your battery, and it will know that this is lock number 1 after the following step. Once you've got it connected and reset, now you enter your code, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It'll say, which lock would you like to open? You'll say lock number 1. It'll open the only lock that's attached to it, and that lock will now be named number 1. Then, to name other locks, you disconnect lock number 1 or the previously named lock, and you complete a reset on lock number 2 in exactly the same fashion. Now in the entry pad, after you've done your reset, enter your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, open lock number 2. This names lock as number 2. When you finish naming all the locks in this fashion, just connect all the locks back up, and now they'll know their names. So when you enter a code, you can say lock number 4, and it'll know to open lock number 4. All right, let's take a look at warranty. Our warranty, or the industry warranty, let me put it that way, is about 12 months from date of manufacture. We have an 18-month from date of manufacture. We believe in our product, therefore we made the warranty longer. However, date of manufacture is always an issue. That's the industry standard. That's the only date that they really know. The date that the lock came off the line is the date that they can record. So they do it from date of manufacture. But there's another reason to do it from date of manufacture, and that is if the lock sits on the manufacturer's inventory for some period of time and then goes to distributor and sits in their inventory for some period of time, finally goes to the locksmith or the Safe Vault Pro, sits on their inventory for some period of time, and then finally makes it at the field. In some cases, the warranty's gone. So by doing the date of manufacture, manufacturers guard themselves against warranty claims, allowing the length of time that the lock goes through the channel in order to mitigate any warranty costs. We changed that all this year. We introduced not only our 18-month date of manufacture, but a 12-month date of service warranty. And what that means is it doesn't matter how long it sits on my shelf or your distributor's shelf. When you put it into service is the day that the warranty takes over. So no longer do you have any out-of-warranty product sitting on your truck or on your shelf. What happens is inside each package there is a form or instructions to register the warranty. The end user, the safe owner, can do this. They go to our website, they click on register warranty, or they fill in the card, send it in to us. When they register the warranty, they're going to give us the serial number that's on the lock body and the serial number that's on the entry pad. It has the date of manufacture code in it, and we can track that particular lock by serial number. But we give them warranty from the date they register their warranty, which is the date it's put into service. They actually have 90 days to do this. They can't phone us up when the lock is 10 years old and suddenly register. We ask them to register their product within 90 days of the date of service. They're going to provide us proof of purchase that they bought it on this particular date, and we're going to honor that warranty for a period of 12 months no matter how old the lock is. We're the only people to do this, and it's creating a bit of a stir in the safe lock market. But it's the right thing to do. How do you determine the date of manufacture? So on the back of our entry pad and the back of our locks, there is this white box. The white box has blue writing on it and a grid with numbers in it. The top line is the year, so 2012. We black out the number that's appropriate. The second line is the months, so this is the 6th month. The third, fourth, and fifth lines are the days of the month. So this was the 30th day. So this one was produced on June, 6 month, 30th, 2012. Now in our serial number, each product comes with its own serial number, human readable and barcode readable. The middle set of numbers, 120630, is the number that represents the date of manufacture. So again, 2012, the 6th month, the 30th day. So that's how you find out the date of manufacture. But again, with our warranty, it doesn't much matter. As long as the end user registers their warranty, they're covered for 12 months from the date they register it, the date they put that lock into service. All right, cycle testing. I mentioned previously that our locks are very reliable. The reason they're so reliable is we do cycle testing. Every single lock that we manufacture is cycle tested 2,000 times before it's shipped. That is an amazing commitment to quality. No other safe lock manufacturer that I'm aware of does this level of testing. Most do sampling, random sampling, or test it multiple times and think it's good and send it out. So ours is every single lock, 2,000 times. We have a pneumatic tester set up. We've got banks and banks of these pneumatic testers in our manufacturing line. We load them up with about 40 locks and we run them, and they cycle test. As a result, our quality is tremendous. We have 99.7% quality management rating, which means that of all, say we send out 1,000 locks, we might get 3 that have a blemish, a button doesn't work, a light doesn't come on, an issue with a wire, whatever it happens to be. That's 20 to 30 times better, 10 to 20 times better than any other safe lock manufacturer, according to industry knowledge. All right, so what are the pros saying about SecuRam systems? SecuRam is the newest safe lock manufacturer entering the market, and we haven't been around 150 years. We haven't been around 40 years like the other competitors, but we're getting rave reviews from the Safe and Vault pros and locksmiths. Here's one of my favorites from a fellow named Dave McComey, who is a Safe and Vault professional extraordinaire. Dave is known worldwide as top-notch Safe and Vault professional. He's written many books, and Dave's kind comment to us was, SecuRam is hitting home run after home run. You are fast becoming the Apple computers of the safe lock world. Well done. Wonderful comment. From Dan in Cleveland, finally a 21st century safe lock. SecuRam as versatile as they are reliable. From Dave Mercer of Diebold, SecuRam is rewriting the electronic safe lock business. From Joey from the Safe and Vault Aloha organization, SecuRam, the future is here. From Jim Colmer, SecuRam, utilizing today's technology to simplify your security needs. And finally, from George Thornton of Seattle, Washington, SecuRam is the new standard in safe locks. Very kind comments, very appreciative of their support and their testimonial. Locksmith certification programs. So we have a number of programs to be able to become well-versed in our product. One of them is this video that you're watching, but we have some others as well. Our certification programs are available online, so you can take them at your leisure. Essentially what you do is you watch a series of videos. This particular one that I'm showing here is on our SafeLogic Series, but it's available on our website, on the back end of our website. When you click on the gray members button, we validate that you are a member of the trade, and then we allow you access to the back end of our site where you see the drill points and other things, but we also give you access to locksmith certification programs. You watch the videos, you take a quiz, you score 75% or more, and you become certified. What we do is we send your certificate with your name, the date of your completion, and the course that you are completed, and which series that you're now proficient in. And then we put your name on our website as a service provider, safe lock provider who is proficient in the SecuRam product line. We currently have a number of different certification programs available. The SafeLogic Series, which is our entry level, the SafeLogic Extreme, which is our redundant lock, the ProLogic L02, the product we're discussing here, and then the advanced ProLogic system, which covers our wires network connectivity. All right, to contact us. If you need to reach technical support at any time, dial 805-988-8088. We're open from 8:30 a.m. till 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're on the West Coast. So you can ask for technical support. If you want to talk to the lead tech, his name is Roy Morris. He's very good. He knows our products very well. He'll be able to help you out. If you prefer to email us at techsupport@securamsys.com. If you need to reach me, my name is Jeremy. My email address is jeremybrooks@securamsys.com, and my cell phone number is 805-616-7928. We'd be happy to help. Thank you very much for watching, and call us if we can be of service.